Hello, I'm Dan DeRose, coming to you again from our digital desk here at 19 News. We want to take a look at our gas prices. We've heard from a number of viewers who aren't real happy with the trend. First of all, we're going to take a look at what's been happening. This chart on your screen from GasBuddy, the gas price tracking website, a user-friendly website, shows that this is the past year of gas prices in the city of Cleveland. And while we are not as high as we have been in the past, like $3.65 a gallon back in March and April of last year, you can see what has happened since the first of the year. We were at our lowest price per gallon just after the new year at about $2.58, and that's the lowest price we've been paying in a year. And since then, it has been a pretty sharp and steady increase. The question for a lot of people is why, especially when we see prices go up on this type of a scale. People want answers, and one of the ways to do that is to bring in petroleum analyst from GasBuddy, Patrick De Haan. He's joined us several times. Patrick, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back again, Dan.
Well, it's unfortunate. We've had you on a couple of times when prices get really low, but we really like to bring you on when prices have seen increases like this, 4 straight weeks of increases across the nation and here in Ohio. Let me lay it out there without getting too into the weeds. What is going on?
Well, as you saw there, gas prices bottomed out about in mid-January. That culminated with cold weather that shut down some refineries in Texas and Louisiana. And keep in mind, Texas is the largest refining state by far. So whenever you see sub-zero temperatures in those areas, it can inundate refineries that are outside exposed to those temperatures. That really started us on this road to higher prices. And then early February, we saw another bit of a jolt. That was related to an unexpected power outage at the largest refinery here in our region, in Northwest Indiana. That refinery can produce up to 10 million gallons of gasoline every single day. And now we're kind of segueing into the time of year that we usually see other refineries start maintenance. In addition, we're just a couple of weeks away from the first step in the transition towards summer gasoline. And with temperatures warmer than normal this winter, we've also seen demand increasing. So a lot of pressure putting upward pressure, I should say, a lot of things happening to put upward pressure on gas prices. And this is a trajectory we'll probably see more of here over the next few months.
That's not great news. Explain to us why it's such a big deal when refineries go offline, whether it's Texas, whether it's Northwest Indiana, that I believe is still down. Why is that such a big deal, and why do we see such a correlation at our pumps?
Well, over the last 30 years, Dan, we've seen the number of refineries go from 184 all the way down to 124 or so. The average size of a refinery has doubled as we've seen the amount of refineries plunge. And so when a refinery goes offline now, it tends to be much more problematic. There is little breathing room or margin for error. And so that's really what can undo that delicate balance of when prices are going down, things are good. But when one refinery goes down, especially one as large as the BP refinery in Northwest Indiana or many refineries in Texas, it's going to have ripple effects. And so as refineries get into their normal seasonal maintenance here before the start of the summer, it's kind of like getting your oil change before a big road trip. Refineries are going to be undergoing maintenance for the next few weeks. And unfortunately, that's going to limit the amount of gasoline supply coming out of them at a time of year that we're starting the transition to summer gasoline. So usually there's going to be much of a pain point from about now until mid-April or May. That's when prices should peak, but it shouldn't get a whole lot worse than what we saw last year.
Okay, well, that's, I guess nobody liked the prices last year at more than $3.36 a gallon. You've given us sort of a peek at our forecast. Mid-April, May is when we can expect a peak at this, but we also have to start adding in people are going to drive more. So you get all these economic factors when we start talking about supply and demand. Supply is down because refineries offline. It's been a warm winter. People are driving more. Here comes spring. People are going to drive even more. It's just not a good recipe.
That's exactly right. And that's really the foundation for what we see here over the next, call it 8 to 12 weeks, is that recipe is still going to be active. Progressively, as the weather warms up, Americans do drive more. Demand for gasoline bottoms out in early February usually. We start to see things rebounding, coupled with the fact that now we're going to start the first step in the transition to summer gasoline. Basically, all of the winter gasoline that we had built up over the last, call it 6 months or so, is going to be wiped out. and it can't be sold after early March and early March and April is when pipeline specifications change. So basically, all of that winter gasoline that's built up that led to the low prices is going to be wiped out, and refineries are going to be starting all over. And that's really why it's important that refinery maintenance doesn't have any surprises, because at the time that we are starting the transition, supply of summer gasoline is going to be very tight. And that's why we expect prices will, not every day, but more often than not, over the next couple of months, we are going to see more increases than decreases.
And I better ask you that for our viewers that are watching who don't understand, why is there a difference between winter gas and summer gas?
Well, essentially, that's been mandated as part of the 1990 Clean Air Act amendments. The EPA essentially has two different formulas for gasoline, one for summer and one outside the summer. And so with a lot of Americans hitting the road in the warmest months, you'll think to those really warm days, those ozone action days. Summer gasoline really does a much better job cleaning up the air or leading to less emissions in the air during the summer months. That's why it's more expensive, and that's why the EPA requires it to clean up the air.
Makes sense. Patrick De Haan, he is a petroleum analyst with GasBuddy. Patrick, we let you sort of throw you the softball here. Explain to people why GasBuddy, not only for charts like the one we just showed, but what is the big reason that people should use GasBuddy as a website or an app?
Well, Dan, the big part about that is just trying to help you save on your fuel expenses. I don't think there's anyone, hopefully now, that is paying what the retail price says, coupled with GasBuddy finding those cheaper prices. There's loyalty programs that now integrate with the GasBuddy app that help to save you another 5 to 10 cents a gallon. And of course, if you need to find a place to go to the restroom or find some food, the GasBuddy app will show you the right stations to find even coffee, which of course is just as vital as gasoline is.
Yeah, if you've never clicked around on the GasBuddy website, it's fascinating. It's pretty incredible. They get reports from stations all over, not just the Northeast Ohio area, but all over the country. So when you're traveling out of town, it's a great resource to look at where you should maybe be filling up before you cross state lines. Patrick De Haan with GasBuddy, certainly appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. So again, just a couple more of those reasons. None of us are happy about it when prices go up like this, but at least we can give you an understanding as to why, so that when somebody next to you is complaining, you can say, oh, did you hear why prices are going up? And we've just given you the reason. If we have any other breaking news, it'll be right here on our digital platforms. Our 11 o'clock news underway right now on CW43, then our noon news on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media @Cleveland 19 News.